Well, my Frenchmans, the time has finally freaking come. Here we are in Intisuyu, Peru, and I have already found a method. I have already found a method that I am 99% sure is gonna work for the Great One Jaguar grind, and you don't even gotta find your drink zones. Alright, you guys, well, right before we get into this video here today, let me know down below, what is the first species that you're gonna casual hunt here in Peru? Obviously, for me, clearly it's gonna be the Great One Jaguar grind, bro. What else would it be? This method here today is going to work. I know for a fact it's going to work, and the name that I'm going to give it is the 10 tent method. Now, this method is very, very simple, but let's start from the beginning. As per usual with Squidster methods, Squidster guides, whatever, it's going to be so simple you could explain it to a 4-year-old, as I go super slow and explain so that way everyone can understand it, and not just the high intelligence level people. Because you know what? My intelligence level's not very high. I have a hard time understanding things sometimes. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Alright, my Frenchmans. Well, first things first, you guys first need to understand how jaguars are going to work. So first and foremost, jaguars drink from 21 to 0 here in Peru. Peru is the only map that you're going to find them in, so obviously this is the only map that we're going to be able to do this Great One grind in. Now, typically when I would start off with a Great One guide, one of the first things that I would tell you to do is find all of your drink zones. But for the Great One Jaguar grind, this is completely unnecessary. In fact, it is a waste of time. Because the jaguars operate very, very similar to the Great One Black Bear grind. When you find a zone, the zone is going to be a solo because it's a predator, meaning that typically there will be only 1 or maybe 2 jaguars in one drink zone. These zones are solo zones. And if you know anything about solo zones, when you shoot it, the zone vanishes and comes back somewhere completely random on the map. Typically, for grinds like the Red Fox grind or the Bear grind, we can find like home ranges of where the zones get stuck and we zone trap them, but that's not happening on Peru because there's probably well over 100 lakes. There is not going to be a home range in this map unless some genius figures out some way to do it. I will put money on it that we'll never find a home range. It's just not possible. So my 10 tent method is going to be very, very simple. First and foremost, you can copy my setup if you want to. It'll be very easy for you to just copy my setup, but my setup still has not been fine-tuned. I'm going to fine-tune it better as I get some more kills into this grind. The first thing that you're going to want to do is set up on the right-hand side here, the coast, in a way that you'll be able to see as good as possible. So for me, I have tents roughly at render distance from one another, so that way I can see at least decently in between them as I jump in between them. And what this is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to efficiently hunt the coast, which is the first and main thing that we're going to be doing in this grind. The only differences that I'm going to make in this particular setup is I'm going to adjust the tents a little bit better so that way I can see from one another a little bit better, because right now I can see really, really far down there. Oh, that is awesome with their eyes reflecting like that. But I can't see absolutely perfectly, so that tent that's way up there, I honestly might move back to here, and then move this one back a little bit. See, little tweaks like that. That's just what I'm saying. The setup isn't going to be perfect. You're going to need to tweak it to your preference to get the best visibility from the bottom to the top of the coast. You want to try to stay as close to 10 tents as possible, although I do have 11. The less tents you use on the coast, the easier the second step of this method is going to be. I would say 10 is probably the sweet spot. If you can manage to go with like 9 or 8, you might just have to do some extra running. That would be golden, because the second half of this method will be a lot easier for you. I have 11 because I'm lazy. Once you actually manage to get these tents set up here on the coast, what you're going to want to do next is go ahead and start looking for males. When you find males on the coast, obviously shoot them, claim them, add them to your counter, and you literally can do 95% of the entire Great One grind like this. But there's one big problem. As we rotate up and down this coast, shoot and claim our males, it's very, very possible, and it's pretty much bound to happen, that the males are eventually going to become inconsistent. And what that means is they're simply just not going to respawn on the coast, they're going to respawn elsewhere. Now, the coast is so big, and they can drink from the very top to the very bottom, that I would say probably most of the time they are going to respawn on the coast, especially if you're mainly hunting the coast, but it's called wild, so they're going to jump. And to deal with that, that's where the rest of our tents come in. So as I mentioned, It's called the 10 tent method because you're going to try to get as close to 10 tents as possible on this right-hand coast here. And this right-hand coast, you need to think of it as your main zones, like any other Great One grind. For your exterior zones, aka every other zone on the map besides the coast, which is your main zones, so main zones, exterior zones, this is where the rest of those tents are going to come in. Now, I don't have my full map unlocked yet. I'm going to go finish unlocking it as soon as I get done recording this guide. But you're going to want to use the rest of those tents to set up in the most convenient areas possible, and this is going to be completely preference, although I will share my setup once I fine-tune it in my Discord server, and I'll make a YouTube tab post as well. Set up the rest of those tents. If you have 10 on the coast, you should have 6 extra, plus all the other outposts that I still have to unlock that you're going to have everywhere out here. Set up in the most convenient areas possible, meaning place tents like right in the middle of little ranges of lakes, so you can use one tent to get to several lakes. And all you're going to need to do, when the males on your coast just seem to be non-existent, aka they get inconsistent, or you just don't have any males left to shoot, is go to your exterior zones, shoot every single male that you see. Shoot, if you want to herd manage, you can leave, what would it be, probably 4s and below, since they go up to level 9 in exteriors. Although I wouldn't suggest herd managing this, because I don't know how big their population is. So it might get to a point where you only have, where all the males on your map are level 4s if you start leaving 4s. I would suggest go to the other lakes besides the coast, shoot every single male that you see, and as long as you shoot enough males, they will jump back. I would assume that hunting pressure does not affect them at all. They're predators, I don't see why it would. Typically with like the black bear and the brown bear, you can dump an insane amount of hunting pressure right on top of where their zones spawn, and no matter what, when you shoot it, the zone's going to delete anyways because it's a solo. The zones should just respawn right back on top of the hunting pressure. Even if the coast is pink from the top to the bottom, the zones will still come back. They're predators. That's just how predators work. There is zero reason to stack diamonds, zero reason to herd manage this grind, unless for some reason the population is huge, although I wouldn't expect it to be. But if there's like 200 jaguars on all of our maps, then I may consider herd managing. But that, my friends, is quite literally all you're going to need to do. Set up with the least amount of tents that you're comfortable with on the coast. Shoot, you can use all 16 on the coast if you want to, but you're just going to have to do a ton of running in exterior zones, because while the outpost placement is decent in this map, and again, I still don't have this bottom chunk unlocked here, so there's probably going to be like, what, 1 here, definitely 1 right here, it looks like. I really don't see that many outposts. So honestly, I may have to do more running on the coast when I'm mainly rotating and save some tents for exteriors. That might be the smart thing to do, because exterior running is going to get annoying. It will get annoying. But this grind is going to be a challenge in general. Who knows though, it could be the easiest Great One grind. Who really knows, we could spawn it in 10 kills. No matter what, this method is going to require a lot more running and slower paced gameplay than other grinds, just because there's so many areas we can find them at. Like this setup here, for example, it's pretty decently set up. I can see a good chunk. What is that, 260 meters that way, probably 200 meters up that way. But if I want to see down into this crevice here, my only choice is going to be to run up and peek around the corner. I could spawn into this outpost, but it's thick. And like I said, we're going to need to fine-tune our setups to get it absolutely perfectly to how we like it, and that's just going to take time. But this is the base of the method. This is really the only option that we have at this point to grind these things, and I think it's going to work. I am confident, 100% confident it's going to work. Now, lastly, if you want to try to get more males onto your coast, you could swap. And I don't really know how well that would work, because, you know, obviously jags are going to be jumping out of the coast just as much as they're going to be jumping into the coast. So I really wouldn't see a point in swapping females out, but you could. You really could. If you could actually get that serious, in particular, about where your animals are. I'm gonna die here. I'm getting killed by a caiman. Oh, I dropped it. Let's go. My first ever caiman. W. Sorry, I got distracted there. You could swap. You really could swap. But I really wouldn't see a point in it. I don't know if someone can find out a reason why. I would try it. But again, I really wouldn't see a reason why, because the males are just gonna jump out as much as they jump in. So there's really no point to swap. It's not that complicated of a method at all. Shoot the males. When the males start to become inconsistent, go to exteriors, shoot every male you see, and they should jump back. If not, then keep shooting every male you see in exteriors until they jump back. You don't gotta worry about not claiming males in exteriors. I would suggest that you claim every single male that you shoot for this grind. My god, these things are aggressive as heck. Easy to kill though. just so that way you can maximize your chances. Because no matter what, this grind is going to be extremely difficult, so every single chance we get, we should claim jaguars. Last but not least, the loadout that I'm using simply just consists of the OG binos. The OG binos aren't the night vision ones. There's a Grayson right there. And for whatever reason, they are just amazing at night. Like, 10 out of 10 at night. Would strongly suggest them. Not to mention, they're the best zooming binos in the game. The furthest zooming. I have the Arzina 300 for shooting commons and the Malamur 7mm. And other than that, you guys, that is the Great One Jaguar grind. From this point on, what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my day is going to exterior zones and looking for males, shooting them and hoping that they jump to the coast. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll swap with a female or something. And as I'm running around in exteriors, I'm going to place down tents so that way I can get to these little tiny lakes as soon as possible. Now, I'm pretty sure jags drink pretty much out to this center coast down the middle here, but my good friend Lady Legend has a hotspot guide coming out really soon for not only jags, but every single species in the game, and her maps are top tier. Also, my good friend ProXCK will be allowing me to put his hotspot maps in my Discord server as per usual, but I'll probably be making my own, as I'm going to do a whole hotspot map guide on this map for my channel. So thank you guys a ton. Hopefully this method helps. What are you waiting for? Get out there, start shooting, man. I'm ready. I'm going to dedicate about probably 12 or more hours to this grind today. And what I want you guys to do is come back to this video once you try it and share any tips and tricks to help each other out in the comment section. And as per usual, when a new Great One comes out, I will have a top 10 tips and tricks for the Great One Jaguar grind video on my channel within a week. But hey, if you guys like this video, please go down there, hit that like button, and subscribe. As a 16-year-old content creator, it is very much appreciated, as my goal by the end of 2026 is 50,000 subscribers. We're on track to reach it. In fact, I think we're going to exceed it. We should be at 50k by deer season. We need about 10k over the summer. I'll be streaming the crap out of this new map starting tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get ready, boys. It's going to be a banger. Probably a 5-hour live stream on Friday. It's going to be goated, bro. But thank you guys all so much for watching. As always, my name is Squid. You're watching Squidster Gaming. I love you guys to death, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out, my gamers.